Have you ever heard a sentence so sharp, so brutally cold, that it sliced through your chest and left you breathless? I had. And it came from the one person I never thought would say it. My son. My only child. The boy I sacrificed everything for. The boy I raised alone after his father walked out. The boy I worked double shifts for, stayed up nights for, carried through sickness, fear, heartbreak. And the boy who stood in the middle of our living room, my living room, and said the words that would change the course of my entire life. I'm tired of seeing you, Mom. At first, I genuinely thought I misheard. You're tired of what? I whispered. He rolled his eyes. The same brown eyes he inherited from me. Eyes that used to sparkle when I brought him birthday cakes, when I picked him up from school, when we watched cartoons on rainy afternoons. But now those eyes looked annoyed. I'm tired of seeing you every day, he repeated. It's embarrassing. You're always around. My girlfriend said you act needy. His girlfriend. Ah, yes. Leah. The sweet-talking, manipulative little princess who entered his life barely 6 months ago and somehow convinced him that I was the enemy. I felt the room shift, like someone had pulled gravity from beneath me. My knees trembled. My heart thudded painfully. I cook for you, I said slowly. I clean. I give you a roof. Exactly, he snapped. I'm 24, not a kid. I don't need you controlling me. Leah says I should have space. And frankly, I agree. Controlling? I hadn't even raised my voice at him in years. But something darker was happening. Something I only realized later. Leah had been planting seeds. Seeds of resentment. Seeds of entitlement. And he was letting them grow. I tried again. Sweetheart, if something is bothering. He cut me off with a laugh that didn't sound like my son at all. Mom, stop. Seriously. I'm done having this conversation every week. Just stay out of my way. Every week? We never had this conversation. Not once. He was rewriting reality to justify his cruelty. That's when something inside me broke. Not a small crack. A fracture that reached deep, into bones, into memories, into 24 years of motherhood. My son, the child I raised from my own blood and exhaustion, had just shoved me aside like I was a stranger. A burden. An inconvenience. But the worst part wasn't the words. It was how he said them. Cold. Detached. As if I were something he regretted having in his life. I stood there, silent, trembling. He snatched his keys from the counter. I'm going out, he muttered. Leah doesn't like when I'm upset. She wants me to move in with her, anyway. And then he left. No hug. No apology. Not even a backward glance. Just the slam of the front door, and the shattering of my heart. The first twist, the house wasn't his. I sat alone in the quiet, replaying his words until they echoed like gunshots. I'm tired of seeing you. Stay out of my way. Leah wants me to move in with her. Then something inside me, something primal, something fierce, woke up. All these years, I thought love meant sacrifice. I thought motherhood meant endurance. I believed patience could heal anything. But betrayal? Betrayal changes you. I looked around the house I paid for. Every window. Every tile. Every nail. Every bill. Every mortgage payment. Mine. Not his. Not Leah's. Mine. He had been living under my roof for free. No rent. No contribution. Nothing but entitlement and disrespect. And now he was tired of seeing me? Well, there was something I could do about that. Something very simple. Something very legal. Something very final. I picked up my phone. Called a realtor friend. Took a breath. "Hi, Grace," I said. "Is that offer from last month still on the table? The one for my house?" Her voice lit up. "Yes. They're still very interested." I closed my eyes. "Good," I whispered. "Sell it." A pause. "All right. When should we schedule the appraisal?" I stared at the door my son just stormed out of. "Immediately," I said. "Before he comes home." The second twist, I didn't tell him. I knew exactly what I was doing. I wasn't reacting from anger. I was reacting from clarity. If my presence embarrassed him so much. If he needed space. If he was so tired of seeing me. Then I was going to give him what he wanted. In the most painful, unforgettable, life-changing way possible. But here's the part where things truly spiral. Because the day he returned home with Leah. Arms around her waist, arrogance dripping from his face. He found strangers walking through the hallway, taking measurements. He found a sold sign on the front gate. He found me calmly packing a suitcase. And what happened next? What he screamed. What she confessed. What I revealed. Would tear his entire world apart. Have you ever watched the expression on someone's face change from irritation to panic in the space of one heartbeat? I had, and I would never forget it. They came home together, late afternoon, laughing like the world owed them something. Leah's heels clicked like a metronome of entitlement. My son, the boy who once tripped over his shoelaces in front of me and asked me to tie them, now strode in as if he owned the whole block. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of tea, the newspaper folded beside me, a single suitcase open on the sofa. My hands were steady. My voice was steady. My chest, oddly, felt calm. "Hey, Mom," he said, scanning the air for the faint scent of a fault line he could blame on me. We went out for coffee. Leah moved ahead of him, smelling faintly of expensive perfume. "Your mom's being dramatic again, aren't you?" she cooed, with that syrupy kindness that hides knives. "Actually," I replied, smiling like a woman who's decided to stop apologizing for existing, "there are some people in the living room measuring the hall." Both their smiles froze. They found Grace, the realtor, and two men from the appraisal team in the hallway, clipboards in hand. They were taking pictures, whispering in professional tones. There was a sold sign already half-rolled at the edge of the yard. Grace had been careful, but not careful enough. My son's face had gone through the color palette of an old television, warm, then washed out, then a sickly pale. "What is this?" he demanded. His voice was threaded with confusion, then anger. "What is going on? Mom, why didn't you tell me?" "You told me to stay out of your way," I said. "You said you were tired of seeing me. You said I embarrassed you." His jaw clenched. Mom, don't make this about Leah. Don't put words in my mouth." Leah stepped forward, smile turning brittle. "We don't want any drama," she said, but her voice cracked. "You can't just." "I can," I said simply. "Because this house is mine. I paid the mortgage. I signed the papers. I raised you here. And when you told me you were tired of seeing me, I believed you. So I called a buyer." For a second the two of them seemed to exchange a secret look. It was the look of people who had practiced a script for years and were suddenly thrown a line that didn't fit. I watched my son's hands tremble as he gripped the back of a chair. "You can't sell it," he whispered, more to himself than to anyone. "We live here." "No," Grace said, businesslike and merciless, "you don't. The property's under Mrs. Hassan's name. It's on the market legally." My son's eyes switched from me to Leah and back as if measuring betrayal in inches. "You're lying," he said finally, the words barely audible. I reached into the suitcase slowly and pulled out a small stack of envelopes, bank statements, receipts, the mortgage booklet. I slid them across the kitchen table like cards in a game I'd already won. "You want proof?" I asked. Here. Every payment. Every year. Every late night. I tapped the envelope. This house is mine. Leah laughed then, a short, sharp bark that broke into nothing. This is crazy, she said. Who does this? You're being dramatic. Funny, I said, and the words tasted like iron. You used to tell my son I was dramatic when I worried about him. Funny how quickly that label got transferred. My son dropped into a chair like someone who had been shoved from a cliff and landed in an unfamiliar country. His hands curled into fists at his knees. For a few seconds he looked like my little boy again, raw, unguarded, confused. You're really selling it, he said finally. The question was small, frightened. Yes, I said. I put it on the market this morning. Grace told me there's an interested buyer. They want a quick close. He sputtered, rage rising like a tide. You can't do that. That's my stuff. You never paid for it, I replied. You never contributed. You took. Now you will have to do what adults do, stand on your own 2 feet. Leah's face flushed. You're unfair, she whispered. This will ruin him. It will wake him up, I corrected. There's a difference. He stood abruptly, stepping over a pair of his shoes like they were mines. You are going to regret this, he hissed. You are going to regret betraying me. Betrayal is a two-way street, I said. You betrayed me first when you decided to be cruel. A heavy silence pressed into the room. It was the kind of silence that holds 1,000 possible outcomes. I could see the life he had planned, the easy route, the one that ran on my patience. I could see Leah's plan, to tether him to a world of convenience and expectation. For the first time, something else occurred to me. I had been so busy being a mother that I forgot I could be a woman with boundaries. I forgot I could choose myself. And what about your plans? I asked calmly. If you're moving in with Leah, maybe you should move in now. Don't wait for the house to be sold to make your own bed. Start living the adult life you keep telling me you want. He looked at Leah for support. She offered none. He flung open his bedroom door and began stuffing boxes, not because he planned to leave tonight, but because something primal in him wanted to prove he could. He shoved clothes into a bag, tossed photographs aside with unnecessary force. I watched him mount his own undoing with the same detached curiosity mothers sometimes have watching their children scrape a knee. Promise me one thing, he said suddenly, softer. Anything. Don't tell anyone about Leah. Don't humiliate me. I won't humiliate you, I said. But I will not be invisible anymore. He looked at me, truly looked at me, for the first time since he'd been a toddler. There was confusion there, and fear, and a flicker of something like guilt. You could have told me, he said finally, voice shaking. You could have, we could have talked. You said you were tired of seeing me, I reminded him. He pressed his palms to his face and let out a sound that was almost a sob. Leah moved toward the door, dragging him with her. We're leaving, she said. We'll find somewhere else. You can't make this into a drama. As they left, my son paused in the doorway and looked back. For what it's worth, he said, barely audible, I didn't mean. But the door closed before he could finish. I stood in the empty hallway after they left, and for the first time since that brutal sentence was spoken, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt something else, a strange, powerful relief. It wasn't victory. It wasn't joy. It was the quiet, dangerous clarity of a woman who had found the edge of her endurance and stepped beyond it. If you're watching right now, don't forget to like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Have you ever felt the silence of a house after your child walks out, a silence so deep it echoes with every memory you ever built under that roof? That's what the night felt like. But unlike all the times before, I didn't cry. I sat in the half-empty living room, the ticking clock bouncing off the walls, and let myself breathe. Really breathe. Like a woman who had been underwater for too long and finally reached the surface. The next morning, Grace called. They want to close in 3 days, Maria. 3 days. 24 years of motherhood, reduced to a 72-hour countdown. I packed lightly. Clothes. Documents. A few photos that still held meaning. Everything else? I decided to donate, including the couch where my son once slept with a fever, the chair where I stayed awake through nights of worry, and the kitchen table where he told me he was tired of seeing me. The past had already taken enough space in my life. It wasn't going to take any more. The explosion. By the afternoon, my phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. Leah. I stared at the screen, debating. But curiosity is a terrible thing. I answered. Her voice was a broken mixture of panic and anger. You ruined everything. I almost smiled. Almost. What did I ruin, exactly? You know what? He can't move in with me. My landlord doesn't allow extra tenants without approval, and she inhaled sharply, and your son assumed he could just bring all his stuff to my place. Assumed. Of course he did. What happened? I asked calmly. He showed up with boxes, Maria. Boxes. My landlord came for inspection and saw him. We got a warning notice. So you don't want him living with you? Silence. Then. Not right now. Ah. There it was. The selfish truth beneath the sweet voice. He needs you, I said. This is your chance to prove how much you care. Another long, painful silence. I didn't sign up to babysit a grown man, Maria. And yet, I said gently, you encouraged him to pull away from the person who did babysit him. She hung up. But I wasn't done hearing explosions that day. An hour later, my son called. He didn't say hello. He didn't breathe. He just shouted. You sold the house? Mom, where am I supposed to go? With Leah, I said. There was a choke of disbelief. She doesn't want that right now. She said it's too much pressure. And when I said the same thing, I replied softly, you told me I was dramatic. He went quiet. A painful, heavy quiet. The quiet of a man realizing the world doesn't bend for him. Mom, he whispered, and suddenly the anger cracked into something fragile. I didn't know she'd react like that. People reveal themselves, I said, when you ask them for anything real. The revelation. He arrived at the house that evening, shoulders slumped, hair unbrushed, looking smaller than he had in years. The appraisal team was gone, but the new buyers were walking through the bedrooms again, speaking softly in Spanish. A couple with 2 young daughters, the girls ran down the hallway, giggling. The image hit him harder than my words ever could. He grabbed my arm. Mom, you can't leave. You can't sell this place. This is home. It was, I said. His eyes filled, but pride forced the tears backward. Where will you go? He whispered. A small apartment, I said. Something peaceful. Something that belongs to me. He sat down on the floor, knees to his chest, like a child again. Why did you do this? He murmured. I crouched beside him. Because I raised you with everything I had. And somewhere along the way, you forgot I was a person, not a machine that exists for your convenience. He winced as if the truth physically struck him. I was stressed, he muttered. I didn't mean it. Leah, she kept saying I was too attached to you. I thought I was supposed to pull away. And how does that feel now? I asked. He swallowed. Empty. I nodded. That's what it felt like for me, I said. When my own child told me he was tired of seeing me. He covered his face with both hands. I'm so sorry, he whispered into his palms. But that wasn't the real twist. Because later that night, as I was sorting through the last box in my bedroom, I found something. A letter. Folded, hidden between old scarves. Dated 7 months ago. Written by Leah. At first, I wasn't sure if I should read it. But when I opened it, the words hit me like a blow to the chest. He's too attached to his mother. If he wants a future with me, he needs distance from her. She's holding him back. He needs to understand who really cares about him. If he chooses her, I'm done. It wasn't just manipulation. It was intentional alienation. Calculated. My hands shook. There was more. Much more. But the line that changed everything was, if the mother is out of the picture, he will be fully mine. Fully mine. I sat there for nearly an hour, staring at the words, letting each sentence rewrite the past months. My son's behavior. His sudden coldness. His distance. His irritation. His obsession with space. It all came from her. This wasn't just disrespect. This was grooming him emotionally. This was control. This was venom. And he had swallowed it. But I wasn't angry anymore. Because I realized something I should have seen long ago. Revenge wasn't selling the house. Revenge was letting reality expose the people he trusted more than me. And the next day, reality hit him harder than anything I could have planned, asterisk asterisk. Leah did something even I didn't expect. Something that would break him. Something that would make him run back to me in tears. And something that would make my decision look like mercy. Have you ever watched someone realize they placed their entire trust, their future, their heart, into the hands of the wrong person? The next morning, my son got his answer. And it shattered him. The call that changed everything. I was in the kitchen, packing a few cups and plates into a donation box, when my son burst through the front door like a storm. His face was blotched, his eyes red, and not from anger this time. From devastation. "Mom," he gasped, out of breath. "Mom, she. I set the mug down and hurried toward him. "What happened?" He shoved his phone toward me with trembling hands. On the screen was a message thread between him and Leah. But not normal messages. These were long paragraphs. Cold paragraphs. Paragraphs that ended everything. The first line was enough. "I don't think we should see each other anymore." His lips quivered. "Mom, she dumped me." I inhaled sharply. I knew it was coming. I knew her type. But what I didn't expect was how harshly she had done it. I read the next message. "You're too needy. You rely on others too much. I can't date someone who brings emotional baggage from his childhood." From his childhood? Then the most painful line of all. "Your mother coddled you your whole life. I don't want someone who still acts like he needs his mom." He pressed a hand hard against his chest like the words physically stabbed him. "She said I need therapy," he whispered. "She said I'm broken." His voice cracked. "She said she only stayed because she thought I'd grow up faster once I pulled away from you." And then the final blow. "This is goodbye." No heart emoji. No explanation. No kindness. Just a sentence. A cold, merciless sentence that mirrored the one he threw at me. "I'm tired of seeing you, Mom." Now someone else had said the same kind of thing to him. And suddenly, he understood the pain he had caused. The collapse. He sank onto the couch, the same couch he once drooled on as a toddler during nap time, and broke down, really broke down. A deep, guttural, shaking sob that came from years of bottled-up emotion. "I'm sorry, Mom," he cried. "I'm so sorry." I sat beside him, placing a hand gently on his back. "It's okay," I whispered. "No, it's not," he sobbed harder. "I treated you like garbage. She twisted everything. I let her get in my head." His fingers curled into fists against his knees. Why did I let her do that? Why did I believe her? Why did I talk to you that way? I didn't answer immediately. Because something inside me, something old, wounded, still hurt. But another part of me, the part that had held him through nightmares and scraped knees, wanted to comfort him. You were in love, I said. Love blinds us. Especially the wrong kind. He wiped his eyes aggressively. She said I needed to cut you off. That you were holding me back. That I was immature for caring about you. And you believed her because you wanted her approval, I said softly. Sometimes people weaponize love to isolate others. He nodded, staring at the floor as if it could give him answers. She told me, he croaked, that I had to choose between her or you. And you chose her, I finished. He flinched. Yes. And now she left, I added. He broke again. The letter, the truth he needed to see. I stood up, went to my room, and returned with the folded letter I found the night before. What is this? He asked. A truth you need to face. He opened it. His eyes scanned the handwriting. His face paled. What is this? He whispered. It's a letter she wrote months ago. His eyes darted to me. You read it? Yes. He returned to the page. Every line cut him deeper. He's too attached to his mother. I can mold him into what I want. If the mother is out of the picture, he will need me more. Once he depends on me completely, I'll decide what future we have. His throat tightened as he read the final sentence. If he chooses her over me, I'll leave him. He looked up, tears streaming freely. She planned to leave me either way, he whispered, the realization dropping like a hammer. Yes, I said. This wasn't love. This was control. He clutched the letter, hands trembling violently. I was nothing more than a project to her. A project she failed, I said. He lowered his head into his palms. His shoulders shook. I hurt you for someone who only wanted to hurt me. That was the moment, the precise, irreversible moment, when he understood. Not because I said the right thing. Not because I demanded an apology. But because life taught him the same lesson he tried to teach me. Pain has a strange way of circling back. The ask, and my answer. After nearly an hour of silence, he finally spoke. Mom, he whispered, voice small like when he was little, can I stay with you? Wherever you move? Just until I get back on my feet? Please. I exhaled slowly. Why do you want to come with me? He looked up, eyes red and raw. Because I realized something today, he said. You're the only person who ever truly loved me. The only person who never used me. I pushed you away for someone who didn't care if I lived or died. His voice cracked again. I don't deserve your help. But I need you. I nodded. But, I said gently, before I decide. You need to understand something. He blinked. What? I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your emotional punching bag. I'm not your safety net to fall on when the world hurts you. He swallowed hard. If you come with me, I continued, it will not be like before. You will respect me. You will contribute. You will treat me like a human being. Not a doormat. I will, he said immediately. I promise. But promises are easy. Reality is not. So here's my answer, I said, standing up straight. He looked terrified. And I gave him the truth. I'm moving, but you're not coming with me. His mouth fell open. What? Mom, no, please. You need to learn to stand alone, I said. You asked for independence. Now you have it. He shook his head violently. No, Mom, please, I can't, after everything, after she left, I have no one. You have yourself, I said. And that's enough to start with. His voice broke. Mom, I'm begging you. I closed my eyes. This was the hardest thing I had ever done. But it was necessary. For him. For me. For now, I said, we need space. And for the first time, he was the one who sobbed the words that once shattered me. Please, don't leave me. But I had to. Because sometimes, the only revenge that actually heals is letting someone face the world they tried to push you out of. Have you ever felt the universe whisper? You did the right thing, but the consequences will still hurt? That's what the next week felt like. I had already moved into my small, quiet apartment, a place with plain walls, affordable rent, no memories, and no ghosts. A place where I could finally breathe without watching someone I loved slowly drift away from me. I didn't tell my son the address. Not yet. He needed distance. He needed to learn accountability. He needed to learn life without leaning on someone he had taken for granted. But I didn't expect what happened next. The downfall begins. 3 days passed. No calls. No messages. No updates. A part of me assumed he was angry, another part hoped he was rebuilding, finding his footing. But on the 4th day, my neighbor at the old house, Mrs. Cortez, called me. Her voice was urgent. Maria, your son, he's standing outside the house. Has been for hours. My heart clenched. Is he okay? I don't think so, she whispered. He's sitting on the curb. He looks lost. I closed my eyes. This was what I feared. This was the result of all the pain he had ignored, all the reality he had never faced because I shielded him from it. I thanked her and hung up. For a moment, I fought the urge to run to him. But no. Growth doesn't happen in rescue. It happens in reflection. Still, I worried. So that evening, I drove by, just to check. And that's when I saw him. The boy who thought he was a man. He wasn't the confident, arrogant young man who once told me he was tired of seeing me. He was sitting on the curb, hood over his head, arms wrapped around his knees. A single duffel bag beside him, his entire life packed into one tired bag. His shoes were dirty. His eyes were dead. His phone was face down on the pavement, cracked. He looked like a child who had lost his home, because he had. I parked across the street and watched him from inside the car. I wasn't there to comfort him. Not yet. I just needed to see whether life had taught him what words couldn't. He lifted his head and stared at the dark windows of the house he once took for granted, the house he believed he was entitled to. He whispered something. At first, I couldn't hear. Then I turned off the engine. And I heard it clearly. I'm sorry. Mom. I'm so sorry. He said it to the house. Not knowing I was there. Not knowing anyone could hear. Raw. Broken. Unfiltered. This was not a performance. This was truth. He pressed his forehead to his knees as if trying to fold himself into nothingness. I breathed in slowly. He wasn't ready to see me. Not like this. So I drove away. The fall gets worse. 2 more days passed. This time, the call wasn't from Mrs. Cortez. It was from someone I never expected. Leah's cousin. A young woman who had seen my son's relationship fall apart from the sidelines. Her voice trembled as she spoke. I don't know if I should be telling you this, but he's been sleeping in his car. My stomach dropped. Where? A mall parking lot. Leah told him he couldn't stay with her, and he refused to ask you for help. He said he doesn't deserve to. My breath caught. He was right. He didn't deserve to. But he deserved to survive. That night, after midnight, I drove to the mall parking lot she mentioned. And I found him. Not inside the car. Outside. Sitting on the pavement. Shivering. Staring at nothing. He didn't see me. Didn't hear the car. He was whispering again. And this time, I understood every word. I lost everything. My home. My mother. My girlfriend. And it's my fault. All my fault. His voice cracked on the word mother, and that nearly broke me. But I didn't get out of the car. Not yet. Because I realized something powerful. My son had finally become a man. Not because he succeeded. But because he shattered. And he took responsibility for the shattering. He wasn't blaming me. Wasn't blaming life. Wasn't blaming circumstances. He was blaming himself. That was the breakthrough he needed. I drove away again, heart heavy, hands trembling. He wasn't ready to see me. But he was close. Very close. The final straw. 2 days later, he finally called. His voice was hoarse. Exhausted. Empty. Mom, he said. Not, hey. Not, listen. Just, Mom. A single word carrying every apology he never said. I need help, he whispered. Please. I closed my eyes. This was it. The moment I had been waiting for. Not his suffering. Not his downfall. His humility. His growth. His understanding. I'm at the old park, he added quietly. The bench near the fountain. My throat tightened. I knew that bench. It was where I used to take him to feed ducks when he was 6. Where he cried when he lost his first friend. Where he told me he wanted to grow up to make me proud. That bench held our entire history. Stay there, I said softly. I'm coming. I didn't ask why he was there. I didn't ask how long he had been sitting. I didn't ask what happened to the car. I just drove. And when I arrived, I saw him, hunched, cold, exhausted, but still there. He looked up as I approached. For a second, he didn't move. Then he stood. And he said the sentence that softened every sharp edge inside me. Mom. I don't want space anymore. I want you. His voice cracked. His eyes glistened. He took a shaky breath. Please. Don't give up on me. I swallowed hard. And finally, I knew he understood everything. But the story wasn't over. Because what happened after I approached him? What I told him? What boundary I set? And how he responded? That was the real ending. And it's not what you expect. Have you ever walked towards someone you love? Someone who broke you. Someone who needed to break before they could ever understand you. And felt every step rewriting years of pain? That's what it felt like walking toward him on that park bench. The cold wind brushed against my face, the fountain behind him whispered softly, and the streetlights painted him in a pale gold glow, making him look smaller, younger, almost like the little boy I once held. He stood there, trembling. Not from cold. From fear. Fear that I would turn away. Fear that he had pushed me too far. Fear that he had lost me for good. The apology I waited years for. He took one shaky step toward me. Mom, his voice broke. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was cruel. I was stupid. I thought I was being independent, but I was just lost. A tear slid down his cheek. I pushed away the only person who ever loved me without wanting anything in return. He covered his face. But this time, he didn't hide. He cried openly, without ego, without excuses. And that was what healed something inside me. Not his tears. But his honesty. He looked at me again. You told me I had to learn to stand alone, he whispered. And I did. And it hurt. But you were right. He swallowed. I don't deserve you. I know that. But I want to be better. I want to earn my place in your life again. He exhaled shakily. Please, just don't leave me behind. the decision. I let him talk. Let him break. Let him soften. Then I spoke. Calmly, firmly, with the strength of a woman who had finally learned her worth. I didn't leave you behind, I said. I stepped aside so you could walk forward. He blinked. But, you left the house. I didn't leave you, I repeated. I left the version of you that didn't respect me. He looked down, guilt curling him inward again. Mom, I want to make it right. I'll work. I'll pay rent. I'll contribute. I'll respect you. Just, don't shut me out. I took a deep breath. You can come with me, I said, slowly. His head snapped up, eyes wide. But on my terms, I continued. As roommates. As adults. As equals. Not as a child demanding everything and giving nothing. Yes, he said immediately, nodding fast. I'll do whatever you say. Anything. I need a chance. You'll get one, I said. But only one. For a moment, we both stood there. Mother and son, rebuilt by the fire of consequence. Then he stepped closer. And for the first time in months, he hugged me. Not the quick, distracted hug of someone who wants to get it over with. This hug was desperate. Tight. Honest. Full of the pain he finally felt, and the love he finally remembered. His voice cracked against my shoulder. I missed you. I closed my eyes. I missed you too. The real final twist. We walked to my car together. I opened the door. He paused. Mom? He asked quietly. Yes? Why didn't you tell me you were watching me? At the house? At the parking lot? At the park? I froze. He knew. I exhaled softly. Because you weren't ready to see me, I said. You needed to see yourself first. He swallowed hard. That hurts, but I get it. I smiled faintly. Then he said something that made my heart stop. Mom, there's something I need to tell you. Something I realized. I turned to him, curious. He looked straight into my eyes. For the first time like a man, not a boy. And he said, you didn't sell the house to punish me. You sold it to save both of us. I didn't respond. He continued. If you had stayed, I would have never learned. And I would have destroyed us both. His voice shook. You chose the harder path, leaving. Most parents never do that. But you did. Not because you didn't love me. But because you loved me enough to let reality teach me what you couldn't. Tears welled in his eyes again. That's the day I realized something. He took a breath. You're not just my mother. You're the strongest person I've ever known. I froze. Because that was the one sentence I had waited 24 years to hear. Not, Mom, I need you. Not, I'm sorry. Not, come back. But, you're strong. You're enough. You matter. He reached for my hand, gently, respectfully. I don't want to be a burden anymore, he said. I want to be someone you're proud of. And I will be. I promise. This time, I believed him. We drove away from that park together. Toward a new apartment. A new life. A new beginning built on mutual respect. Not dependence. Not manipulation. Not guilt. Just love, real love. The kind that survives even the ugliest storms. 6 months later. He found a steady job. Pays his portion of rent on time. Cooks dinner twice a week. Checks on me without being told. Says, thank you. Says, Mom, you okay? Says, I appreciate you. He even apologized again, unprompted, for the hurtful sentence that started it all. I'm tired of seeing you, Mom. He still winces when he remembers it. And every time he does, he adds, I'll never say anything like that again. And he hasn't. Because sometimes, the deepest wounds create the strongest relationships. If both people are willing to heal. And we did. Together.